Okay, apologies to anybody that's it's probably nobody watching right now, which is fine. Uh, welcome. Here, I'll just put a welcome in both YouTube and Rumble. Um, okay. Okay. Everything's everything good. Okay. Yeah. So whoever's watching, sorry about that. A bunch of crap happened this morning. Nothing serious, but a whole bunch of annoying crap happened. So I woke up, I went in the living room, sat down, I went to sleep, and I woke up and Dad came in, and then we had to something we had to get on Amazon. So we were searching through Amazon looking for some stuff related to our diet stuff. And then by the time that was done, I still had to make uh, lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever you want to call it. I still had to make food, and then uh, I realized we're trying to sous vide. Oh, here, let me I'm gonna cover this up for just a quick sec because I'm gonna change my shirt. I don't want you to see me change my shirt. Um, so I realized this roast was had been in the fridge for a little while. It's completely thawed out. I needed to do it for like the day after next, basically. And so I did that, and then what else? Oh yeah, I came in here to actually fix or to start the stream, and for some reason the YouTube chat won't go. In fact, first it said Restream couldn't connect or some weird thing, and gave me a 400, some sort of weird 400 error that it couldn't connect or whatever. So basically, what I did was um how did I do that? I I went into settings, I disconnected, I restarted, I reconnected to Restream. Everything seems to work fine. I got the stream running in on YouTube, as far as I know. I mean, I'm looking at it, but that doesn't always mean that yeah, it doesn't always mean that it's working right. But I'm assuming that since I'm watching it in a window, separate window, that it's actually working. So yeah, and should do something different here. Why don't I put this guy up here up top, and we're gonna put Rumble down below. Okay, we're just gonna squeeze this down to there. Then what that is? Okay. Oh, I see. That's another window. Uh, then I'm gonna go to let's go to YouTube. Let's pull YouTube down. Pull it down just over, so I can see both how many people are in YouTube, and I can also see how many people are in Rumble. Of course, these can go. So then, what I want is that, and I want YouTube that over the top. That should be okay. All right. Anyways, um, let's actually move this over here. Boom, boom. That way I can just kind of see if there's any kind of movement on RC, even though I can actually really see RC right now. Okay. So yeah, so I do all that. I had to fix the thing, and it still doesn't work, which is why I have to have multiple windows open now, to chat and just kind of observe the channel. And then I had to use the bathroom, you know. So I started late, then I started later, then I started later, and even today, we're kind of supposed to go grocery shopping, uh, and might would have done it earlier if I had been, I don't know, if I'd been up earlier, I guess, or not lazy or something. If I'd done whatever I was supposed to be doing earlier, um, then so that's going to result in this being a short, about 40 minutes for part one, 40 minutes of actual working here, and then um, I will um, I will break, and I will probably break for only about 30 minutes. So it'll be 1:15. I'll break to 1:45, and then I'll start at 1:45, and then I'll end at 3 o'clock so that we can go to the grocery store a little bit earlier than we would normally. So hopefully it's Wednesday. Hopefully tomorrow, maybe, if there's no other weird things that's going on. Um, and I still have to see if I can get my blood pressure meds. Um, and I might even have to have an appointment, but yeah, I don't know. It's a bunch of weird stuff happening. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll ever be a normal. But I'll try to get back on schedule. I'll try to get back on to regular normalcy. You might say. Okay, so check out the closet near the dumbwaiter. Um, right now I'm probably not gonna pull out the blender grease pencil. Really, it's just there's a couple of hotel rooms, and right now I don't have a visualization or an idea of how everything's laid out. So, and it's just events anyway, so uh, it might be more helpful um, later on, like when I'm. It might be more helpful when I'm doing the. Hey, Ergo, do you like Christina Hendricks? Uh, was she's that redheaded actress, Christina Hendricks? You know, I don't pay much attention to celebrities and stuff really. So, you know, I pretty much don't like any actor almost in a sense. But uh, if the yeah, is that right? I probably shouldn't be doing this, but let's we'll do it. We'll have safe search on British American actress. Yeah, that's that one. Okay, yeah, I get it. Born May 3rd, 1975. She's only a few months older than me. That's interesting. Uh, okay. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Uh, I don't know if I like her or not. I mean, she's good looking, obviously. I like redheads, but um, as far as do I like her for any particular reason, like a good actress, or I like her as a person, or whatever, I don't really know much about her other than she's kind of voluptuous. I just like to interject with stupid things sometimes. You don't have to check it. That's okay. I was just making sure I was on the right track, you know. But that's fine. Yeah, I like redheads, and I like voluptuous redheads, just like any red-blooded male, red-blooded straight male, I guess. But yeah. But as far as the person, I don't really know that much about her. I've never watched any show that she was in. What was that, Mad Men? So I obviously know who she is, but I've never actually watched Mad Men or anything like that. I don't have cable, so I mostly watch old stuff, like really old stuff, you know. And so okay. Anyways, and this okay, so this part's gonna be a short one just because I kind of screwed everything up today, and I didn't get started quick enough. But now, I don't know if you were in here when I explained the naming convention. The ID and the actual file names is this number. This 3-digit number is the chapter number. Originally, it was like a location number, and when I split it into chapters, I said, you know what, I'll just keep it and then use it as a chapter number. And then I have these other things like this is title 3, and basically they're story beats, right? So these are like different story beats and uh, individualized. And then after this, in between these two, I'll be putting pages in there. So that's why it's title number 3 is this one. And then these 3 options will be 3 pages here. Okay. Well, yeah, I think I explained it a little bit yesterday, but maybe you weren't on, which is fine. And I'll probably explain it several times more later on or whatever. So, P just stands for page, T stands for title, and then the 3-digit number stands for chapter. Because I got sort of divided this into chapters. I mean, it is a choose your own adventure style interactive. It's an interactive narrative, I guess you call it. Because right now it isn't actually a proper game yet, even when I get finished. It's not going to be a proper game until a couple of phases in, I think. And so this is just phase number 1. Open new tab. Let's go into rooms. Okay. Um, so I basically just divided this into chapters, which is kind of based on like character group and or location. So if there's a major deal, um, and I just tried to also make sure that the chapters weren't too long. So sometimes they're just split. Like for instance, the princess, um, and the count trying to find out where the princess is. That's a separate chapter from the actual time when our guys rescue the princess, which is a separate chapter, but it deals with the same characters. So it's like kind of like a location change, sort of. So, and I did this little numbering naming convention thing, just so that when I listed it on in the files here, it's literally for the file listing. When I do it by name, C the letter C is above the letter T, right? Because it's before T. That's your chapter. Uh, so then you got title, and titles are numbered. So titles are numbered from 1 to however many separate story beats I had in that chapter. And then page is just basically whatever is underneath that title. So I originally had a thing that covered all these different deals, and then I actually put choices in there and separated them so that they become individual pages. The order of the pages does not matter underneath the title. It's just where I name them. Of course, I restart it. Title the top title page, the first page that you come to is always page 0. I didn't do it as page 1. Page 1 is the actual individual like choices and pages you have underneath it. There's no real order to the pages because this is just kind of arbitrary, right? So some of these are on different levels, and so they're not in a particular order per se. So that's why I got chapter number, and this the only reason it's got leading zeros is because I originally planned on like a bunch of locations. I had 93 pages, and so I had something like 45 locations, and it would have just ballooned into however many, and so I needed a 3-digit number. I just kind of kept this because it corresponds to the old one. So when I'm converting over and stuff, it just makes things a little bit easier. Now, I don't know if you notice this when you're looking at it. You probably won't really like it won't really register because I know what it's about. But if you look here, there's glint, ember, shade, glint, ember, like this in these different orders. That's because they're virtually the same page, but because I don't have a way to go back to a previous page because it's always going forward. Um, uh, and because this is one of those ones where I want you to be able to hit every option, all the decisions, but just to do it in the order that you want to do them in, uh, then I'll they have the different page numbers, right? But they have the same names because they're virtually the same page, basically. This is what I get for not actually having proper location or proper room or proper whatever. Um, that's why, and that's kind of what. Let's see something here. Where is the dragon ones? I have like different configurations. Um, yeah. Okay. So this is just a variation of down below, where all six of these were like in a row, and all the top threes are in a row. I just kind of rearranged them here this way to kind of make better use of the space, and it looks kind of cooler than a lot of the other stuff. Yeah, yeah. Choose your own story. Yeah, choose your own adventure. Yeah, choose your own story. Right. That's exactly what I'm doing. And it's not a full on choose your own adventure like you read in a book. It doesn't have multiple endings. It doesn't have dead ends. Red herrings, that sort of thing. Uh, it's it's got one ending. It's got one way to go, but I allow I give you a sense of agency by adding decision points, which later on will actually become full blown puzzles. But you're kind of right about doing not about the duplicate pages. Um, what would be is there'd be a couple of things. One is I'd have this set it up to handle looping. Yeah, yeah. So, but okay. So the reason too about this is the choose your own adventure is not the end goal, you might say. It's just a way of I was simplifying the story or simplifying the mechanic so far that that this is the simplest form that I could get it in, and I don't know how much you know or how much I explained about the phase system. In fact, I could just show you it. I guess maybe I won't get anything done in part one today, but and that's fine. Don't think that you have anything to do with that. It's just because I screwed up the day and stuff is the reason. But I'll go ahead and explain it to you just a little bit here if I can find where it's at. Okay, so so to make a long story short, uh, I started. Okay, so I had the idea for this game back in 2005. It's a comedy adventure, fantasy comedy adventure. I'm thinking in the vein of Monkey Island, Day of the Tentacle, that sort of thing. Um, Cartoony adventure. It's a fantasy or whatever, or even Simon the Sorcerer. If you ever played any of those games, kind of a setup. But So the original idea was that a Magic Kingdom uh, turned to tourism, right? So they wouldn't have to tax its citizens, and uh, and things were going well until a guy came in who wanted to conquer different realms and stuff, and he wanted to use the portals to do it. And he had originally tried to do something like this and was banished. And so now, sometime in the future, um, this new guy comes in and he convinces the king to sell him enchanted lands, and then he closes up the schools and he starts, you know, he has this plan that he's going to build this machine that will open all the realms, and he can march armies through and conquer them and stuff. Anyway, so in 2005, I kind of had this idea and I had it percolating in my head. Eventually, I wrote it into notes, and then a couple of times I tried to start it, and an adventure game is kind of massive in concept. It's not hard like programming wise, you know. I mean, you have to if you didn't have a pre-made system, you might have to write your own like pathfinding or something and stuff like that. It's not really complicated in that ways, but what it is complicated is you have a whole bunch of different parts that goes in an adventure game. You have dialogue systems. You have, like I said, you have the collision, like pathfinding and collision. You have stuff for picking up inventory. You know, putting inventory in your deal. If you have animations and stuff, you got animations. You have, you know, rooms, locations, characters, and it's sort of like a cartoon, but it's more there's more work involved than a cartoon because you're actually getting the player to play it. So it's adventure games are really kind of a huge kind of a thing in a sense. Not like a massively multiplayer online role playing game, right? MMORPG or whatever. Not in that same way. I'm just talking about purely from like single player perspective. And it's not even difficult like a 3D like a first person shooter or whatever. The difficulty in there is all the math that you have to do for the third dimension basically. But it's its own thing where you have a ton of different moving parts to make it work. So I can wrap my head around it. I'm not good at visualizing stuff. I see things sort of as movies, kind of, and I don't see like a lot of details, right? So I can say this guy does this. He's over here. Maybe he's flying in a plane, but I couldn't tell you the exact seat setup. What the color was, and your tray tables, and I couldn't tell you the details or whatever. Uh, but I had a hard time visualizing. So, good evening, Rook. So basically, I was going, okay, well, I could spend all my time doing a full-fledged graphic adventure because I know I could do it. I just have to make it, and it would still be, it would still be kind of a big deal. But if I wanted to get something finished, I'd have to do it a different way. And so what I just decided is boil down an adventure game to its essence. Basically, most basic form would be a choose your own adventure, right? You make the choices, and that's kind of that's like the most basic kind of adventure game you could kind of make, right? And so I said, you know what I'll do is I'll do this in steps. I'll do this sort of like iterations, right? Um, Except for I'll have a finished product at the end of each phase. So I'll have a fully like complete game, playable or usable or whatever from start to finish when I'm done after each phase. And then after each phase, yeah, well, yeah, that's exactly what these phases are. Okay, so this is basic choose your own adventure, right? And I've got the framework all done. So the game part, the actual engine part or the framework part that runs the game, that was the easy part. The hard part is actually coming up with the game, which is basically coming up with story, which is why a lot of my streams are kind of boring. But um, so we start with a basic choose your own adventure. Then what I do is I decided that probably should separate the navigation system from your choices, right? Right now it'd be like like what I was doing there. Go check out the tasting alcove or go back behind the stairs or whatever. And um, in the next phase, I'll be separating the navigation. In other words, I'll be going north, south, east, and west. Right? You'll be going to actual locations. Right? But they're still in pages. So all it's going to do is it's just going to add. Um, it's going to add these, and then your choices, your actual room choices, will be your room choices. Right? Um, and and yeah, so this is exactly what I'm doing. I'm doing the same game though. That's the difference. The difference is here. that the finished game here 17 I actually add character movement because I at this point I have graphics, I have point and click interface, I've got animations, background, got music and audio, that sort of thing. Um, but so at each point I will resembles a mud more than choose your own adventure book. Well, no, because a mud is sort of like an RPG, like a multiplayer RPG, really multi-user domain. Uh, and so there's not fighting in this. This is completely story based. So it is most resembles a choose your own adventure. It's just not a full game like you would if you were actually reading a game book. If you're reading an actual choose your own adventure, you might have a couple of endings. You have like a good ending. You have a couple of bad endings. You have a couple of dead ends that you have to go back and start over. This is just telling a story. It's like interactive story right now. That's really all it is. And I get it. I'm making a game. It should be a game, but it will be a game. It's just this is the way I'm doing it. It's just the way I'm building it. Okay. So I'll add the navigation as separate commands, right? Separate deals. Like either I'll use NSEW or I'll do WASD. Although you're not moving through it like you would be like a first person shooter or something. So I might just do NSEW for north, south, east, and west, or something, or the numpad where you do numbers to go directions. So that's the second one. And then I also plan on expanding the story. So right now I got these 19 chapters and these story beats, but in the next one I actually I'll break out the chapters into more beats, more things. Um, so that basically this is supposed to be kind of like a quickie. It was supposed to be like 10 pages tops, like 10 pages, 10 story beats, and then it would be like 10 chapters or whatever, or 10 sections or however you want to say it. And I only have a few choices, but I settled on less than 20, and so I got it down to 19 right now, and that'll be fine. And then I'll expand the story too. So so when I get to the second one, I'll separate the navigation so that the navigation controls are different than the actual choices you make in the page. And that might mean that there will be a lot less actual decision points because a lot of them might be just directional, like go here, check this one out, or whatever. Um, then I'm going to do the room independence thing. Now, this isn't going to change the gameplay at all. It's going to be the same, but in a JSON file, it's going to have multiple choice sets, multiple descriptions, but one file. So if I go to the same place, for instance, the Grand Enchanted Landing Hotel is a prominent location, or the Bats in the Belfry Motel uh, is a location that they keep going back to as a base of operations. I'm going to have several. There's going to be several pages, right? And I'm going to combine them all into one page so that when you come up to the ID, it's just basically for later when I actually make actual rooms, right? I have a room class, and room class is just equivalent to a page right this second. But uh, when I start going in here, it says make rooms independent and reusable by decoupling their descriptions and choices from a single linear path. Um, and it should honestly act and look the same way, except for I'll probably add some more. Like I said, I'll expand the story a little bit. Uh, but it will pretty much work and act the same way. It's just I won't have as many JSON files. These are all individual pages here, right? Right now, there's 157 items in here, and let's say let's go all the way to chapter 5. Let's do that. Whoa, what? God, darn it. Okay, let's do this. Minute. Let's try this again. Where's chapter 6? Okay. Shift. Okay. That's 128 items for what I've done so far, right? Um, and what it should do is it should cut way, way down on the number of JSON files that I'm using. But individually, they'll still have the individual pages in there, and the pages will be the IDs, and it'll one JSON file will have multiple objects, and so you'll be actually able to index. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do the data structure when I get to that point, but the basic thing is that it works and looks the exact same. They're going to be individual pages, just like it is now. They're just going to be less files, right? Okay. Now, Rick is probably tired of hearing about this because I probably go over it over and over again several times, but I mean, that's kind of the way that works, though, I guess. Anyways, that's interesting. I only have one. I had 2 viewers in Rumble, but now I only have 1, which is kind of interesting. Anyways, not important. Okay, so, uh, phase 4, iteration 4, whatever you want to call it, I introduced multiple player characters. So this way, you can switch in between characters, and when you're stuck on one thing, you can switch to another. I don't know if you've ever played Day of the Tentacle, Maniac Mansion 2, Day of the Tentacle. You had 3 characters. You had Bernard, Hoagie, and Laverne, right? Bernard Bernoulli's the nerdy is basically the nerd. He's kind of our main character, and then we got Hoagie, which is a roadie, and then Laverne, who's like a medical student or something, and she's kind of nuts and wacko. But at certain points, you have to switch in between characters. In fact, you have to transfer items between characters too. But so I was thinking of that. In fact, I created a bunch of characters, and I was thinking, well, you're gonna want to switch in between tons of them. In fact, I still have this idea that possibly lets you play the villains, but the villains ultimately don't win, you know. And I'm telling you this, everything I'm telling you here is spoilers because I figure anybody that watches me on the stream is interested in me building the game. I don't mind that much if they know some spoilers because not nobody's gonna watch all my streams religiously and know every nuance and stuff. That's the one thing. They might watch a few things and they'll go, "Oh yeah, I remember that. I'll just do this," and you'll be able to know how to do it. You know, so I'm not really that worried about as far as spoilers go. But so yeah, I'm thinking about letting you play the villains as well, just to round out the story. You know, in some movies, they barely deal with the villain or the antagonist, and it's mostly about what your main character does, right? Sometimes some of them do them really good, where it shows all the machinations of the villains, right? So in this case, I'm just meaning I'm going to let you make the choices, and ultimately it still ends up being what it ends up being, right? Even when you play the good guys and any old adventure game, you're still playing what the designer created. In other words, unless you're specifically doing a thing where your choices alter your gameplay as a thing, you're actually still playing what the designer chose, even if he lets you, go do different things at the same time, you know, or make different choices, right? So it's still a thing that where the designer is doing the story. So in most cases, the villains might be shown in cutscenes, whereas in this case, I might actually let you pick the choices. You know, they kind of have their own motivations. They have their own like character arc and stuff. Ultimately ends in being defeated, but they still they have things that they do that kind of drive the story forward, right? In my case, my main villain is trying to build a giant portal machine that will open portals in multiple realms, and be big enough to march armies through, right? And so you'll see him do things that go to that end. In fact, a spoiler alert, um, that the scepter that is stolen from the trophy room in Wizard University, which is not in this part, it was actually in my old deal, but because I've shortened it up, I don't actually have it in here yet. It'll probably come back later. Is Max is the he's our main villain, and he's the guy that sneaks in and steals the scepter. And Hubert, the wizard, is trying to figure out how he did it. And he knows that some magic was used, but he doesn't know how it happened because it never tripped any of the wards. So, and I have a whole big thing about how that works, how the magic works, the kind of the science behind it, and everything. And but so one of the things he does is he brings a device in that's that is what his giant portal machine actually uses, but at a smaller scale. And all of it was because to open a portal, you need a quicksilver and you need an intention, and you need to speak the intention of where you want to go for a portal to open there. Um, and that means that you got to also have been there and be able to visualize it. But so he builds this device that does not need the quicksilver, the magical mineral that all Enchanted Lands runs on. It runs on this mineral that has magical properties. So it's what allows trains to fly, and light sources that aren't light bulbs, because they don't have electricity there, at least not as such. And there's magic mirrors are made of quicksilver and that sort of thing. And to open a portal, you actually have to have a little bit of quicksilver in your hand. You have to be touching it. Um, and that's just whatever, world building or whatever. It's not that big of a deal or anything. But suffice it to say, um, you would I would have a puzzle in there that would allow you to direct Max to stealing the scepter and bringing it back, right? And so I might let you do that, anyways. And my time is almost up for part one, just because I screwed stuff up. So it's totally, completely my fault. And I will. I got about 5 minutes left. So let me explain one more like deal in here, so that you know what I'm doing here. At phase 5. Now this is going to be like months and months later, and this one's going to take I hope till the end of March. So only about 3 more months for it to be complete. And I don't know if I'm on track for doing that or not. Let's say I have 15 chapters left to do, and that's 5 chapters per month. I think somebody was saying if I do 1.2 chapters a week or something like that, I can say 1.5 chapters, however you want to say it. If I can get to 2 chapters a week, that would be 7 weeks. That would be around 2 months. That would at least be ideal. So when I get back to work here, I'm going to try to finish 2 chapters per week. I don't know if I'll be able to get to that fast, but I'm going to try it. If I do that, then that way this won't take that long. And then when phase 2 comes around, now I have 2 passes that I got to do on here, and what I call the event pass and the narrative pass. The event pass is what I have up here right now. That's these are events. Chester listens to Shade's unusual snoring as he's usually sleeping in front of his cave after not hearing anything. He looks inside and notes it's empty. Um, and that's actually in a paragraph. That should not be in a paragraph form, I don't think. Fighting Shade terrorizing the small village. Terrorizing? Terrorizing. Save room data. Chester flies up and grabs onto Shade's tail. Shade starts slashing wildly, but ends up crashing into a grove of trees. Chester leaves to find Ember and Glint. Okay, so these are just events that happen, right? It's not. It doesn't read like a book or a story or anything like that. But I'll be doing that second pass, which I'll call a narrative pass. So that will actually take some time. That might take the same amount of time, even for that matter. It should take less time, but it might not take less time. Because all it just means is me turning it into more reader friendly paragraphs, basically. Okay, so back to this. Okay, so that being said, this is all front loaded, so this is all a lot of work up front. And then when I get to when I separate the navigation system, it shouldn't take that long to separate controls, add directional controls to it, and then the only other amount of time that I spend is actually when I expand the story. And when I expand it, I'll expand it in vet format, and then I'll do another pass, and so it'll be a little microcosm of that. I'll probably have a few extra stuff in each chapter or whatever. I'll find something that's seems like it's a lot of events in the deal, and I'll break it up and I'll add decision points and stuff in it so that it grows. So when I come to part 2, all the main stuff is actually created. So I'll just have to do a few things to the engine to be able to accept the those commands. In fact, it's going to use the door system, the same door system, but it's going to. I think what I'll do is I'll duplicate doors or something. I forget how I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be fairly quick. Why? Because the doors are already set up. All I have to do is link them in, right? All I have to do is make sure the directions are proper and stuff. So it shouldn't take 1 to 2 months maybe to get this done to this's level. And then the room independence, that shouldn't take that long. It might take a little while though, because I'll have to take different pages and like recombine them and make sure the system works, that it's able to select the correct one. It selects the destination, and I'll have to when I load up the files, I'll have to probably put individual dictionaries in them where you can index into the proper location, the proper page, whatever. Anyways, I'll figure it all out when I get there. The multiple player characters, that shouldn't take that much either, because all I'll be doing is be taking some of the same pages and stuff and moving them out, and so all of it's designed so that I have a finished product at the end of a phase, and then I expand essentially expand the engine and the story each time. So there. So that's basically it in a nutshell. I could list all these off. I don't know if that's interesting to you or not, but so 5, I start adding audiovisual elements. I'll start with just like I'll do like little thumbnails of the scenes in text, and I'll have them display the image beside the text, basically. And then I'll get some like public domain music, maybe classical or something, that will play in the background of some of the scenes sometimes. I'm not sure about the sound effects. That might be not till later, until I actually have animations and such. But then phase 6 is a big one, and that's where I introduce a parser. Now, a parser is going to use the same commands, it's going to use the same engine, but you're going to have to actually enter them in as a text entry. In other words, instead of hitting the choice of 1 and automatically going to page connected to 1, you're gonna hit 1 and enter, and it's gonna parse it, right? It's gonna read it. It's gonna see the number first, or letter, and as long as the number or letter is first, it's going to receive that as a choice command or a direction command, and then it's going to automatically switch to the page once you do that. Then I implement an inventory system. Inventory will allow me to pick up and drop items and do stuff with items. That'll be kind of interesting. What's interesting is my save state system isn't until later, so I don't know if maybe I should not maybe swap these out. Maybe my save state system should actually be before the parser. And the idea being that, yeah, I wonder something. Just a second here. Okay, so the inventory system, then the expansion of interactivity, all that means is I'm adding actual commands. Pick up, look, walk, or, it not be walk, but north, south, east, and west, whatever. You'll still be able to use those original commands, but at this point, you won't be doing choices. You won't be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. You'll actually be picking up, manipulating stuff. It'll actually be pretty complete game at that point. Text-based adventure at that point. But here, the save state system, this whole thing is still kind of in flux right now. When I want to change it, do a major change, I'll switch to a new Greek letter. Anyways, I should probably go now on my break. I'll be back in about 30 minutes, and it's just because I still need to do a break and stuff. When I get back, it'll be another shortened day. So, anyways, thanks for watching part 1, and I guess I'll see everybody in about half an hour. Thank you for watching part 1, even though I screwed up today, but that's okay. So take it easy. See you in about half an hour.